I don't know what happens if you get cured of ADHD. You must just become the most boring person on the face of the earth. Also, another good way to test your fish oil is to actually bite into the capsule, let the juice go in your mouth. If the juice tastes, disgusting, like it tastes like stinky, nasty, old, pussy-smelling fish, then it's probably not a good fish oil supplement. You don't get it. Before I couldn't read without getting distracted because there were numbers sometimes on the paper. Yeah, you might call those page numbers, but to me, they were the word of God. My medication saved my life. Hey, what's up, a-holes? Thanks so much for tuning back into the Holistic A-Hole YouTube channel, where my mission is to empower you with the freshest health news and help you live an obnoxiously happy, healthy life. If it's your first time here, please remember to hit the subscribe button and also click the little bell icon so you can be notified every time a new video drops. And please smash that like button because I can't live without the approval of complete strangers. What if I told you that you might not have to take medication to treat your ADHD? I find if I say that to somebody who has ADHD, they fall into one of two camps. They either fall into, oh, really? Tell me more. That's interesting because I don't want to take medication for my ADHD. I'd like to heal this naturally. And then you have the other camp of people who go, fuck you. Are you going to tell me that ADHD isn't real? ADHD is real. My medication saved my life. You don't get it. Before I couldn't read without getting distracted by the colors of the ink on the paper. I couldn't get distracted because there were numbers sometimes on the paper. Yeah, you might call those page numbers, but to me, they were the word of God. And then you have the third camp of people who's like, you're a Nazi racist and you beat animals. Look, man, I've been studying ADHD specifically a lot in the last couple months. I've been studying not just what it is, but different ways to treat it. And I used to be in the camp of thinking like ADHD isn't a real thing. You know, when growing up, my mom always told me I was hyperactive. I was definitely hyperactive. And there were times where people would tell my mom that she should take me to go see a doctor because I might have ADD. That's what we called it back then. It was just ADD. It wasn't like ADHD. It was like you had ADD and or you were hyperactive. But they've been able to lump the two in. So it's like if you're a kid who has a lot of energy, you could be ADHD. And my mom was always like, this is bullshit. ADHD, he's a kid. He's curious about stuff. He likes to explore. Yeah, he gets distracted because there's a lot of things going on in the world. Do you forget? It's like when you're not, like distracted by one thing and you can just kind of focus on everything, you realize there's a lot of shit that you can focus on. So yeah, is ADHD real? I mean, it is. It's definitely a pathology. It's definitely something that you could diagnose in somebody because the definition of it is quite loose. You know, I would imagine if we're going by the loose definition of ADHD, probably everybody has some form of ADHD. If you've ever been interested in a thing and then got interested in another thing, you probably have ADHD. But then there comes the controversy of, well, what do you do about it? Do we treat it? Or do you just kind of be a person and let yourself figure it out? I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with quote unquote treating it. In fact, that's why I've been researching it so much because I want to know, are there ways for somebody who has, more severe versions of ADHD, are there ways for them to treat it without having to do this Ritalin thing or Adderall thing? And guess what? There absolutely 100% is. New study, omega-3 fish oil, just as effective at improving attention in some children as ADHD drugs. So this is like not a new thing. Like they've been studying omega-3 fats for a while. It's just the whole idea of omega-3 fats can be a little controversial because we get into this argument, this discussion of, well, what is the best source of omega-3 fats? Is it meat? Is it fish? Is it plants? And there's a lot of arguments to be made in all of those. Somewhere the answer is somewhere in the middle. You have vegans who don't want to take things like fish oil, And you can get a lot of the benefits of fish oil, the omega-3s. I think it's the EPA, the DHA, is very good in things like krill oil, but krill is not vegan. What is it? Seaweed oil or seaweed or something like that. Algae, I think it's algae oil. So people take these different forms of omegas because we have to, because nowadays in society, it's not about the amount of omega-3s. It's about balancing your omega-6 to omega-3 intake, right? So the reason people don't have enough omega-3s might not be because you don't have enough food in your diet that's giving you omega-3s, because you need to take it in from food. You might also have a problem with taking in too much omega-6, and those two balance each other out. So omega-6 is, essentially inflammatory. It's found in a lot of, processed fats and a lot of canola oil, vegetable oils. It's found in, processed foods. So when you get omega-3s, or when you eat, again, essentially the standard American diet, you're getting a very high amount of omega-3s, and the more that ratio sinks, the more inflammation you deal with, and the more you have mental issues. So omega-3s have a ton of benefits, and they're finding now that it might specifically have benefits in people with ADHD. So let's check it out. For years, people with trouble concentrating have been described as having the attention span of a goldfish. Ironically, a new international study finds that omega-3 fish oil can actually treat ADHD symptoms in certain children and improve attention just as much or more than many leading medications. However, the research team cautioned that their findings only apply to children with low levels of omega-3 in their blood. The same research group, consisting of scientists from both King's College London and China Medical University in Taichung, Taiwan, had already conducted previous research that found children with an omega-3 deficiency are more likely to experience more severe ADHD symptoms. So again, children, especially children's food, is very low in omega-3s, especially if you're the kind of parent who has been, afraid of fat in your child's diet, and you're sucked into like this kind of low fat diet thing, this like low, like you're all about, okay, I got to watch the nutrient content of the food my child eats. So if a cereal says that it's low fat, I'm going to get the cereal, because God forbid the kid eats fat, the same substance that brain cells and cell membranes are made of. I'm going to try to not get that fat. And then what you're doing essentially is you're throwing off their omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. The worse off that ratio is, the more deficient in omega-3s your kid is. For the study, 92 children diagnosed with ADHD between the ages of 6 and 18 were separated into two groups. The first group received high doses of the omega-3 fatty acid EPA for 12 weeks, while the other group was given a placebo for the same amount of time. The researchers discovered that the children in the experimental group who had already had low levels of EPA in their blood improved significantly in focus, attention, and vigilance scores. Conversely, children in the experimental group with normal EPA levels actually saw their impulsivity tendencies worsen. So you could, again, it's about the ratio. So if you already have, normal EPA levels, normal should be, I think, at worst, like a 3-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Ideal is 1-to-1. But it's like if you start kind of overdoing it on the omega-3s, I would imagine maybe that becomes stimulatory at some point. And so I'm just kind of spitballing an idea of why your tendencies worsen. But I mean, there is, the idea that there could be too much of a good thing. You get like a U-shaped results graph, where at first, like the more omega-3 you put in, the less ADHD you get, but then it kind of levels off as you get more and more, and then as you get more and more, the ADHD symptoms come back. I mean, that's a phenomenon you see with scientific results. I mean, who knows? And again, this is one of just many studies that are out there. This is just the latest one, but you can go on PubMed and just type in omega-3 ADHD, and you'll find a handful of studies that come up that study this exact thing, that don't exactly say what this one is saying. Our results suggest that fish oil supplements are at least as effective for attention as conventional pharmacological treatments among those children with ADHD who have omega-3 deficiency. On the other hand, it is possible to have too much of a good thing, and parents should always consult their children's psychiatrist, since our study suggests that there could be negative effects for some children, comments co-lead researcher Dr. Chang in a release. So even they're saying that you could have too much of a good thing. With these varied results in mind, the study's authors say that parents considering omega-3 supplements for their children with ADHD must consult with a doctor beforehand to confirm if the child has low levels of omega-3 in the first place. It's fairly easy to detect such a deficiency through the identification of dry skin, eczema, or dry eyes. Technically, a blood test would work as well, but as of right now, this type of test is only available for research purposes. And also, when it comes to fish oil is specifically itself very highly suspect. Remember that the ocean's a toilet right now. Okay, so what fish oil supplements are we talking about? Even the best source fish oil, you have to be suspicious of the way it's made, because think about it. When you make fish oil out of fish. You catch a fish out of the ocean, the fish is now dead. And once it's on a boat coming back, once it's dead, it's now oxidizing, right? Even if it's preserved, it's still oxidizing. And a lot of these fish, the processing, the dead fish is in there for a little while, and then they process the dead fish into oil, and then that oil is very unstable, right? So how much light, how much heat is there in the area where the fish oil is, that can totally rancidify the fish oil even more. So by the time the fish oil gets from processing to the store shelf, it could have been exposed to any amount of heat, especially if it's in a clear bottle. It could totally be oxidized even more. And then you got to also keep in mind the gel capsule that they use to store the fish oil in, that you actually take it in, could be made of soy, could be made of all kinds of bad ingredients. So it might not be the fish oil itself, it might be the actual supplement that's just completely ruined. So my point is, fish oil itself might not be the best way if you're trying to get omega-3s to get them. Ideally, the best source of omega-3s, if you want to stay away from fish, can come from egg yolks, beef liver. A lot of red meat is high in omega-3s. I believe you can get omega-3s. Definitely from fish, canned fish, sardines, those lower food chain level fish are good to get it from, but you don't have to do fish oil. And the amount of omega-3s in fish oil can be highly variable. So you might be getting less omega-3 per serving of fish oil by taking it in fish oil. So again, not the most reliable way. This study itself, I'm looking at and thinking, what I just said. Why are there diminishing returns the more fish oil you give? Because fish oil itself is kind of a garbage supplement. That's why. But the idea is that, look, we know that omega-3s can help ADHD. Does it cure it? No. Can anybody ever be cured of ADHD? I don't know what happens if you get cured of ADHD. You must just become the most boring person on the face of the earth. I've seen people who don't have ADHD. They're very not fun to talk to. They're typically like accountants who can look at spreadsheets for a long time, right? Look at all the art we have. Look at all the things that have been created. You're telling me a guy like Steve Jobs didn't have some form of ADHD? The people who have invented, all the technology, the guy who invented the refrigerator, tell me Thomas Edison. I don't not say he's the one who invented the refrigerator, but Thomas Edison, how many things did that guy invent? You think he didn't have ADHD? You don't think Einstein had ADHD? We need some ADHD. It's good for us. It's human, especially now. Think about it, man. It's like we have all of this light pollution, noise pollution that we don't even think about, like we don't even consciously see. Our senses are going everywhere. So look, I would say, if you have a child with severe case of ADHD, the omegas are a good way to go. Beef liver, real whole foods, organ meats, yes, definitely. Egg yolks, even like a krill oil or an algae oil. Yes, do that. Fish oil, don't do it, man. You could be poisoning your kid. It's not a good thing to do. Also, another good way to test your fish oil is to actually bite into the capsule, let the juice go in your mouth. If the juice tastes, disgusting, like it tastes like stinky, nasty, old, pussy smelling fish, then it's probably not a good fish oil supplement. But if it tastes like, somewhat fresh fish, then it's probably okay. But again, you got to be careful. Make sure your sourcing is top notch. Don't buy fish oil from Costco or your local drugstore. Get it online. Nordic Naturals, I think, is really good. Or you can get things like cod liver cans, like the cans of cod liver. You can get them off of Amazon, and the oil in there is rich in omega-3. But I'd love to know what you think. The ADHD topic is always touchy. Everybody has an opinion. Let me know what your opinion is. Do you think ADHD is real and it can be cured by omega-3s? Do you think it's a fake bullshit diagnosis and everybody has ADHD? Or do you think that ADHD is real and we all have it to some degree and it's different in every different person? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you like the video, please smash that like button. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.